That was something. I just want you all to know, Ms. Lewis, Mr. Van Baal, Dr. Mann, thank you for speaking truth. Because I know in this hearing it doesn't feel like it, but my residents are in some of the most polluted zip codes in the nation. They're not talking about Russia and China. They're not talking about that. You know what they're talking about is their kids getting asthma, is the fact that they're getting pre-existing conditions that are worsening their public health, and many of them are dying at a higher rate of COVID because of the environmental racism. Because in their backyard, they literally have over 200 to 300 air permits. You know, I got BP out here lying, inventing the carbon footprint to blame consumers for climate change. Exxon has us all convinced that renewables and natural gas go together like peanut butter and jelly. In my district, Marathon Petroleum had made themselves out to be some indispensable company in my district. They destroy our air and water, got PFAS contamination, you name it. Yet they still expect us to thank them in return because they pass out backpacks to the kids in my community with their logo on it. And the funny thing is they change it to spell out murder. These companies are skilled at deceiving our country, deceiving our residents, the people we fight for, that their fossil products are good for the people and the planet. That's the truth. Now they're telling us that they are, quote, energy companies rather than oil companies, signaling a shift away from oil. In 2020, BP announced its net zero strategy. Part of the strategy was pivoting from international oil company to integrated energy company. But BP spent 4.3% only of its capital expenditures on clean energies in 2021. So Mr. Van Baal, I mean, do you think spending 4% of the company's investment on clean energy makes it an energy, integrated energy company?
Absolutely not, Congresswoman. It's if you claim to be in an energy transition, if you claim to pivot to another source of energy, which would be great, by the way, then you would at least spend 50% of your investments in these new business models.
Absolutely.
These companies with this small amounts, which, by the way, are most of the time smaller than their marketing amounts, risk of being the codex of the 21st century.
Ms. Lewis, would you describe, and I'm trying to be gentle here, Ms. Lewis, because, they're lying, but I'm going to just ask you, would you describe this branding exercise as misleading or deceptive?
Congresswoman, I appreciate your passion and pursuit of truth. And yes, it is exactly meant to mislead the American public on what their true intents are.
In 2020 interview with Bloomberg, Shell CEO, you guys probably, I don't know if everybody talked about it or not, the Shell CEO said, I quote, "The very fact that in this interview you refer to us as an oil company is symptomatic of the problems that we are facing. We're much more sophisticated and integrated energy player, and we're trying to grow our non-oil part much faster than the oil part." So, Mr. Van Baal, do you agree with Mr. Burden that Shell is no longer an oil company?
Not at all. They are still an oil company, and this year they're going to spend around 12% on renewable energy. So absolutely not.
What's so disgusting is how they think like we're dumb. Like, of course we know that they are. Like, stop treating us like we're dumb.
Yeah, there was a Dutch.
So I'm sorry, Mr. Rabbit, but Dr. Mann, because I only have a few minutes. Is Shell acting with the speed and ambition necessary and consistent with the Paris Climate Agreement? I think you've said they're not, right? Is that a no?
Nope,
yeah.
It's a firm no.
So the fossil fuel companies are saying all the right things in public. They have the best press conferences. My kids are on YouTube seeing their beautiful commercials and stuff. And I'm out here saying, those are the people poisoning us, be careful. Literally, this is so incredibly dangerous. If we only listen to their speeches and advertisement, you might be fooled into thinking we are on track for a safe climate and a sustainable future, but they're not doing what they say they are doing. And so I tend to work as vice chair of the Environmental Justice Subcommittee on this House Oversight Committee, and I'll intend to work with my my colleagues because, the American people deserve better than this. I am tired of it. I'm tired of 4 times I saw basements flooded in just one home. homes, tons of homes in my community, and all of it again is direct impact. They're not saying what my colleagues are talking about. They're saying we're literally getting sick, and it's hard to live with this climate crisis right now. It shouldn't be this hard. So I thank you, and again, I yield.
Thank you. The gentleman from California, Mr. DeSanya, is recognized for 5 minutes.